I'm Jeff Morgan. I'm here with Robert Beverly. Robert, you're with, so good to meet you here.
Likewise.
You're with the Texas Defense Force.
Yes, sir.
You're the first person that I've ever met that's with the Texas Defense Force. Tell me what you do.
We are a volunteer security guard company in the state of Texas.
Okay.
And we provide this as a volunteer service to folks who request security for events
Okay.
where needed.
So is it just events or you do other things as well?
We do quite a few other events all over the state, but we also provide services that police can't.
Okay. So you don't look at yourself in competition, but as in cooperation with law enforcement?
Yes, we're a support mechanism, is
Okay.
what I call it.
So when the Texas Defense Force, tell me about when it's founded. I'm assuming it's an organization that's been founded. How many people are in it right now? And
We have currently 60 officers, but
Okay.
our goal is 5,000 statewide.
so are you recruiting people?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, anybody who has the right mindset to serve.
Mm-hmm.
That means no egos, willing to want to respond and serve their neighbors
Okay.
in the state of Texas.
Okay. So how long have you been doing this?
I officially licensed in 2016,
Okay.
and from there we have had a couple resets because there were folks that came in that wanted to do this as a profession, and we said, okay, well, you need to go and be a
Right.
cop. You need to go and do police work.
So it's an unpaid position. It's volunteer.
We ask you to come in with the premise that you are not going to receive compensation for this.
Okay.
Although there are opportunities that have arisen that do require compensation.
What kind of qualifications do you need to join the Texas Defense Force?
You bet, attitude. That is the biggest qualification. We just lost this 37-year wily police officer. He came in, he said, I'm just all beat up, but I want to serve. How can I serve? And I said, sir, you can be, the best thing we could have is scenario training.
Right.
Give us the opportunity to show our officers what to do to keep them out of jail.
Okay. And he just passed on recently? Was it an incident? Okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
COVID and a few other complications we lost.
So you've mentioned security, like for different events, such as the one we're here right now. But I mean, do you do anything else as well? It seems to me the Texas Defense Force, you're talking about defending Texas, the integrity of the state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what all could be the broad of your scope?
I will give you a few examples of
Okay.
what we've done.
Okay.
We've had a domestic violence case south of Corsicana. We removed the female from that situation and took her to the border where she was reunited with her family from Missouri.
Okay.
Okay? We can do that legally.
Okay.
Okay? We have interfered with people that were buying stolen goods online, and they were sending them to an address in Fort Worth. The Fort Worth address was repackaging those items and sending them back out. We have private investigation. We were able to do things the police couldn't do. Without going into a whole lot of detail, we made those people's lives miserable because the police were unfortunately unable to do what needed to be done to stop that activity.
What about human trafficking?
We have been asked, but we have not gotten into that just yet. But it is becoming a problem.
Okay.
We know it's been a problem for a while.
Right.
We want to make sure that our officers are aligned better.
Right
now.
So you follow all of the laws of the state of Texas, the Constitution, everything else like that. Is that correct? You're not like some rogue group. Okay.
No.
Okay.
We enjoy a licensing from a security guard standpoint that gives us authority and privilege that we would not have as a citizen.
Okay.
All right? Perfect example would be if we have an emergency, say if a tornado was to enter your area, we could take that and we could supplement or complement the police in providing perimeter security for a given area because we have licensing that's backed by the state. They know that we've been vetted and we can respond to that. Okay? A current threat that we're dealing with right now is the border.
Okay. Oh, so tell us about that because that would be a very interesting threat, I'm sure.
Okay. So on the border right now, we just met with some sheriffs down in Brackettville. There's a gentleman by the name of Sheriff Cole.
Mm-hmm.
He is the sheriff of Kinney County,
Okay.
which serves a 17-mile border between, I think it's Uvalde and Del Rio.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, they're in a particular situation where they're looking to deputize citizens.
Yes.
And the problem they have is that if they deputize someone like a militia person,
Yeah, that.
there's a few problems with that. And
Right.
what I've heard is that the DPS is talking about stepping in and making that a difficult thing for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
But turn that around, as officers, security guard, we have
Mhm.
already been vetted.
Mm-hmm.
We are already licensed.
Mhm.
We are already responsible, and we know the law better
Mm-hmm.
than the person off the street.
Can you apprehend and arrest people?
Depends. Anyone has the right to arrest a person as a citizen's arrest
Mm-hmm.
if they are in commission of a felony in your presence.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
As a security officer, there are two things that we
Mhm.
can do.
Mhm.
One is that we have that citizen's arrest.
Right.
The other is that we have arrest powers for breach of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Breach of peace, we could see interpreted as somebody's coming on and trying to destroy your property or to create havoc. If it becomes a felony, we can arrest
Right.
them as a citizen. But we have certain skill sets that the person off the street doesn't have.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
access to skill sets and weaponry.
Okay, so let me ask, this is going to be probably a question out of left field for you.
Sure.
But I work a lot with trying to reform our family courts and what we see in the family law situation. And one of the issues that comes up a lot is when you have a divorce or something like that, and one parent interferes with the child visitation, the child custody. You know, it's called interference with child custody. It is a state jail felony. And people go to the police departments and they say, well, this is a civil matter. You know, they do nothing. I mean, this is not exactly your mission, but would you be somebody that they could call? Because they have their orders, but the other person is illegally keeping a parent from a child. Is that something you could help out with, or is that something you're not sure how to comment on right now?
I am very familiar with that area
Okay.
because I have a younger brother
Mm-hmm.
that served as an attorney in family law for 18 years in
Mhm.
Fort Worth and is now a professor of law.
Okay.
Okay? And I have seen that and understand the dynamics behind that and what we can do and what we have offered to do. We
Mhm.
just have to grow in order to provide the service, and that is that if we find a parent that needs help in making sure that they are not interrupted
Yes.
in a visitation, we
Yes.
can provide a conduit between the parent.
Okay.
When the parent uses them as a tool
Right.
to manipulate.
Okay. So you're
There's
talking.
also another area, and that is that we've gone to local entities that have women,
Mhm.
that have restraining orders,
Mhm.
and we are willing to, in cases where they feel like the threat is
Right.
real,
Right.
we can escort them to the court.
Yeah, okay. You know, this is a completely different question, too. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt you had to warn a public official that he or she was in breach of their duties? Either, you know, sometimes, I mean, the law enforcement has sometimes been under a lot of scrutiny because of our cameras today and everything.
Sure.
And I'm sure that you can't say that every situation at all warrants that what they're getting, but there may be some situations that they are in breach. Do you have any authority there, any ability, or maybe, you know, judge or anything like that? I mean, this is getting really tricky, I know.
Sure. No, I mean, if you're doing something wrong, I'm going to call you out on it.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It could be a judge. It could be the president of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're
if-
probably keeping pretty busy with that one.
You bet. But we have the right to do that.
Right.
If we're filmed, we also have the defense
Yes.
against any kind of prosecution if we call someone out when they're violating the law.
Got it.
And
got
frankly, I don't care who you are. That's what we're here for.
Right.
Is to help serve.
it. Okay.
And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, we're going to call you out on it.
So you said you want to grow. What I'm hearing you say is that you want people to consider joining or at least go through a recruitment process. Is that correct?
We have it basically, the whole premise is if you're a good person, you're wanting to serve your community, there are phenomenal programs that we have in place that some of them haven't been implemented. Like we've got a phenomenal school program that a lot of the smaller independent school districts can't afford.
Right.
It replaces the RSO in a school, your safety officers.
Right.
The SROs rather. We have a lot of things that can be done, and it can be done from a lot of different age groups. And we are looking for people who just want to serve.
Okay.
But more importantly, I just hosted a function last night where I said, hey, we have PSAs where we say, hey folks, if somebody comes up to your car, you can't just shoot them because they're bringing on your vehicle.
Right.
And we go through a lot of legal, because police don't really share that with the public.
Right.
The Penal Code and the different violations and what can happen to you if you do something foolish.
Right.
And we go through a lot of scenarios and say, this is wrong and this is why it was wrong.
Gotcha.
And we do a lot of that. And we look for, I have a Titan missile commander, retired officer, colonel, Air Force. He lives in New Braunfels. We just signed on a battlefield commander out of Tyler.
Wow.
They just came in 2 days ago for an interview. But we have plumbers. We have millionaires. We have, I am a full-time, I have a company in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah.
That is what I do for a living.
Right.
I do not count on this for my sustaining income.
Right. You take part-time people then too?
Everyone.
Everyone's part-time.
Yes.
Oh, great. Gotcha.
Everyone.
So if people
Retired, anybody.
if anybody wanted to say, hey, listen, I want to do this. I believe in your mission.
Yes.
I believe that we need more people like this, and I want to volunteer. How do they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with the organization? Is there a website? What do they do to make contact?
Okay. We have several ways of doing it. We're on Facebook called Texas Defense Force.
Okay.
The official txdf.org.
TXDF.
So T is in Tom, X is in X-ray, D is in dog, F is in force.org. You can go there. You can get an idea of the kind of organization we have, how you can serve, and contact us through there. Or you can send me an email. My name is Robert, and my simple address, robert@txdf.org.
Okay, Robert, well, thank you so much. This was very interesting.
You bet.
First time I've got to meet somebody with the Texas Defense Force. Thank you for enlightening me. And anybody out there that if you want to become a part of this wonderful organization, help keep law and order in your community, you have to go through a vetting process. You got to be doing it for the right reasons. But get in contact with Robert at txdf.org. Robert, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.